Hi everyone, I'm Evely and I'm going to tell you an interesting story. Part 2. Good luck. Her face twisted into something ugly. Well, maybe if you paid more attention to me instead of sitting at home playing your stupid video games, I wouldn't have had to go somewhere else to feel wanted. I stared at her. The woman I had loved for years, the woman I built a life with, was standing there, blaming me for her own bullshit. I nodded slowly. Got it. Then I turned and walked out, slamming the door behind me. I walked out of that hotel room feeling like a bomb had just gone off inside me. My chest was tight, my hands were still shaking, and my mind was racing with everything I had just seen and heard. I should have felt victorious. I had caught her. She couldn't gaslight me, couldn't weasel her way out of it, couldn't twist it around like I was some paranoid, controlling husband. But all I felt was emptiness. I made it back to my car and just sat there in silence, staring at the steering wheel. The adrenaline was wearing off, leaving behind this deep, hollow ache in my gut. I had just watched my wife, my fucking wife, get caught half naked with another man, and her first reaction was to blame me. The betrayal stung like hell, but the disrespect, that cut deeper. I took a deep breath and did the only thing that made sense. I pulled out my phone, opened Snapchat, and screenshotted everything I could from her private story. I knew the snaps were gone, but I still had her messages in my downloaded data. Then I did something even pettier. I went into our shared friend group's group chat, the one with all her girlfriends, and typed, "Hey, just a heads up. Emily isn't on a girls' night. She's fucking some dude named Adam at the W Hotel. Thought you should know since she loves using you as her cover story." I hit send and left the group. Less than a minute later, my phone started blowing up. "Emily. Jake. What the fuck did you just do? Emily. Are you seriously trying to humiliate me? Emily. Come home right now." I put my phone on Do Not Disturb, because the only thing I was coming home to was a divorce. I drove home in silence, gripping the steering wheel so hard my knuckles turned white. My mind kept replaying everything, the private Snapchat story, the hotel, Adam's smug face, the way Emily had the fucking audacity to blame me. By the time I pulled into our apartment's parking lot, my anger had settled into something colder, sharper, clarity. I wasn't about to argue. I wasn't about to listen to more bullshit excuses. I was done. I walked into the apartment, and there she was, Emily, pacing the living room, still in her hotel outfit, mascara smudged from fake-ass tears. The second she saw me, she launched into a rant. "What the fuck is wrong with you, Jake?" she snapped, arms flailing. "Do you have any idea how humiliating that was? My friends are texting me non-stop. Why the hell would you do that?" I blinked. This woman had zero shame. "You're worried about being embarrassed?" I asked, voice eerily calm. "Not about the fact that you got caught screwing another guy in a hotel?" She scoffed. "I told you I was going to tell you." I cut her off. "Stop lying, Emily." She froze. I took out my phone and opened her Snapchat data, the one I had downloaded. I scrolled through the messages until I found exactly what I needed. Then I started reading them out loud. Emily to Adam. "He's so clueless, LMAO. I could literally be getting dicked down right now and he'd think I'm at Target." Emily's face drained of color. "Jake." I kept reading. Emily to Adam. "He's been so boring lately. Like, I can't even pretend to be into him. You're so much more fun." I looked up. Her lip was trembling now, her eyes darting around like she was searching for an escape. I took a step forward. "You want to know the worst part?" My voice was shaking. Not from sadness, but from rage barely held in check. "If you had just told me you weren't happy, we could have figured it out. Maybe even ended things without all this bullshit. But no, you lied. Over and over. And now you want to make me the bad guy for putting your dirt on blast." Her jaw tightened. "You didn't have to humiliate me." I laughed. I actually laughed in her face. "Emily, you humiliated yourself. I just let everyone else see it." Silence. For the first time, she had nothing to say. I walked past her, straight to our bedroom, grabbed a duffel bag, and started packing. "Wait, what are you doing?" she asked, voice small now. I didn't even look at her. "Leaving." She rushed toward me. "Jake, please. Let's just talk. I zipped up the bag and turned to face her one last time. There's nothing left to talk about. Then I walked out the door, slamming it behind me. The second the door slammed behind me, I felt a weight lift off my chest. It wasn't relief, not yet. It was more like the moment you finally stop holding your breath after being underwater for too long. I walked straight to my car, threw my duffel bag in the back seat, and just sat there for a second, gripping the steering wheel. My phone was still on Do Not Disturb, but I could see the notifications stacking up. Emily, 15 missed calls, 20 plus texts. Emily's best friend, 3 texts. Mom, 1 text. I sighed and turned my phone off completely. Whatever she had to say, I didn't want to hear it. I didn't even know where I was going. All I knew was that I couldn't sleep in that apartment. Not in the bed where she had probably laid next to me after screwing Adam in some cheap hotel room. I started driving, aimlessly at first, until my brain finally clicked into place. There was only one place I knew I could go. My brother's place. Ryan opened the door in a pair of sweatpants, holding a beer, eyebrows raised. "Dude, what the hell?" he said, eyeing the duffel bag slung over my shoulder. I ran a hand through my hair and let out a shaky breath. Emily cheated. His entire expression changed. The relaxed, beer-in-hand vibe vanished. His jaw clenched, and I swear I saw actual murder flash in his eyes. "That bitch." I nodded. "Yeah." He stepped aside. "Get in here. Now." I walked inside, dropped my bag by the couch, and collapsed onto it. Ryan disappeared into the kitchen and came back with another beer, handing it to me. "Tell me everything." And so I did. I told him about the private Snapchat story, the hotel, Adam, the confrontation, the fight, the messages I found, the way she had the audacity to act like she was the victim. Ryan sat through all of it, shaking his head, sipping his beer like he was trying not to throw it at the wall. When I finished, he let out a low whistle. "Jesus Christ, man." I took a sip of my beer and stared at the floor. "Yeah." Silence stretched between us. Then Ryan leaned forward, resting his elbows on his knees. "So what's the plan?" I sighed. "Divorce. No question." Ryan grinned. "Good. Because if you had said anything about trying to fix shit with that lying bitch, I would have smacked the stupid out of you." I actually chuckled. The first real laugh I'd had in months. And for the first time that night, I felt sure. I was never going back. The next few days were a blur of paperwork, phone calls, and a whole lot of self-talk. I knew I had to start the process, but every time I thought about it, my stomach dropped. I was signing away the life I thought I was going to build with her. But then I would remind myself she chose this. I contacted a divorce lawyer the following morning, and the whole process started moving way faster than I expected. I sat down with her over lunch to sign the official paperwork. She showed up looking a little worse for wear. Dark circles under her eyes, wearing a hoodie that was clearly not her choice, and it hit me. She was broken. I tried to feel something for her. Sadness, guilt, anger, anything, but nothing came. I felt nothing but numbness as I handed over the divorce papers. She didn't even try to defend herself anymore. She just signed, her eyes shifting around, and the silence between us was almost unbearable. "I'm sorry, Jake," she said quietly, her voice thick with emotion, but there was nothing genuine in it. She had no right to be sorry now. "Save it," I said, forcing myself not to look at her. "This isn't for me. It's for you. I'm done." Her eyes flared, and I could tell she was about to get defensive, maybe even angry, but she stopped herself. She knew. She knew she didn't have a leg to stand on anymore. I was done. I gathered up the papers, stood up, and walked out. She didn't say anything else. Over the next few weeks, I started to settle into my new life. First, it was tough. Every piece of our apartment screamed her. I would catch myself reaching for the bed remote on my side of the bed, or I'd hear a song on the radio and remember her dancing in the kitchen to it. But slowly, so slowly, I started to reclaim my space. Ryan had been an incredible support system, but I needed time alone. I moved into a smaller apartment on the edge of the city. Nothing fancy, just enough for me. Then came the legal side, the fight over property, assets, and all the other tedious stuff you don't even think about when you get married. But every time I got frustrated, I would remind myself, I earned this freedom. No more lies. No more secrets. No more her. I felt like a stranger to myself. But in a good way. A more authentic way. Then one night, about a month into my new life, my phone buzzed. It was a text from Emily. Emily, Jake, I've been doing a lot of thinking. I know I fucked up. I miss you. Can we talk? I stared at the message for what felt like an eternity. The urge to respond, to tell her off, to tell her exactly what I thought, was almost overwhelming. But instead, I typed one sentence. Me, you lost that chance. It's over. I hit send and turned my phone off. And for the first time in weeks, I felt a real sense of peace. The months after the divorce weren't easy. I spent a lot of time reflecting, working on myself, trying to reprogram my brain to trust again. The hardest part wasn't the betrayal. It was the fact that she had made me feel like I wasn't enough. Like I was just a placeholder until someone better came along. But I learned something important through all this. I was enough. In fact, I was more than enough. And slowly I started dating again. Not with the intention of jumping into anything serious, but to test the waters. To remind myself that I could be loved without being lied to. Eventually, I met someone. Her name was Sarah. She was kind, funny, and had that spark I hadn't realized I missed. And we took things slow. I wasn't about to rush into anything, especially not after everything with Emily. But this time, I was in control. I wasn't afraid. I wasn't going to let anyone destroy me like that again. Looking back on everything, it's hard to believe how much my life has changed. It feels like a lifetime ago that I was sitting in that hotel room, confronting Emily, wondering what the hell happened to the woman I married. The hardest part of going through a betrayal like this is how it changes your view of the world. You don't look at people the same way anymore. You start questioning everything. But the best thing I can say is this. No one is worth losing yourself over. Not a partner, not a friend, not a job. You have to take care of yourself first. If you're reading this, and you're stuck in a relationship where you feel like you're the last person to know the truth, please take it from me. Trust yourself. Trust your instincts. Don't let anyone convince you that your feelings don't matter. And when you finally walk away, don't look back. Because trust me, you deserve better. It's been a year since I walked out on Emily, and if I'm being honest, the weight of that decision still sits with me. But it's not a burden anymore. It's more like a badge of honor. I survived it. I came out on the other side stronger than I could have imagined. I'm still figuring things out, taking each day as it comes. The idea of long-term relationships still makes me hesitate, but I'm not afraid of being alone anymore. That's the biggest difference. Before, I was terrified of the silence, the emptiness of being by myself, like I needed someone to complete me. Now, I'm perfectly fine being just me. I'm finally at a place where I can look at everything that happened and see the lessons. The truth about Emily's affair hurt like a punch to the gut, but it also woke me up. It reminded me that I have a right to demand respect. I'm not going to settle for someone who thinks they can manipulate or betray me because they can. I've made some amazing strides with my mental health, too. I started therapy a few months after the divorce, and I can't even begin to explain how much it's helped me untangle the mess in my head. It wasn't just about Emily, it was about me. About why I let myself fall into a situation where I ignored all the red flags. That's been a huge part of my growth. Realizing my own role in all of this, not in the affair, but in allowing myself to be in a relationship where I was made to feel less than. I'm dating again now. It's still a little scary, but I'm taking it slow. Sarah, the woman I've been seeing for a few months now, has been incredible. We're not rushing into anything. But what I love about her is that she's honest. No games. She's open, straightforward, and never makes me question her feelings. Is she the one? I don't know. But the fact that I can say that and feel okay about it shows how far I've come. Looking back, if there's one piece of advice I could give to anyone in a similar situation, it's this. You are worth more than the lies. You're worth more than the excuses, the broken promises, the empty apologies. You're worth more than being someone's second choice, or the person who picks up the pieces after they've shattered your heart. When I walked away from Emily, I thought I was walking away from her. But in reality, I was walking away from a version of myself I didn't even know existed. The one who was afraid to stand up for himself. The one who let others dictate his worth. That version is gone. And I like the one I've become. The one who's not afraid to say, I deserve better. So, to anyone reading this who might feel like they're stuck in a relationship that's breaking them down, you don't have to stay. You don't have to endure betrayal and lies. It's hard. It's painful. But you will come out of it stronger, smarter, and more whole than you ever were before. And above all, you will be okay. Thank you all for watching. Have a nice day and see you in another video.